comes people. So let's just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. And we're just going inward. And as I said, my YMCA meditation group, we've been doing it maybe, I don't know, 3 months, 2 or 3 months now. It's a noisy place, kids and banging and chatting in the corridor. And they just all so want to go inside. They're just really happy to go and sink in, regardless of what's going on all around. And this kind of, in a way, we're so lucky in our tradition, in our organization, to have places to go to where we can kind of sink in. And what I understood from all of these, and that we have a practice and that we have teachers that are willing to sort of, a lot of them giving up their regular lives to sort of help us. And a lot of these people don't have, a practice that they can go home to, but just doing this little bit of meditation, they say, is really, really helpful. So I just wanted to express that because it reminds me of, how fortunate we are to have all these practices almost at our fingertips and qualified people to sort of teach us how to do them. All right, so let's just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. And if you've got your legs down on the ground, have them about a hips width apart. And you can feel the soles of the feet on the ground, the big toe mound, the little toe mound, all your toe pads. Your shoulders aligned with your hips. And just imagine your spine is just a really beautiful string of pearls of light that stretches from the base all the way up through the crown of the head. And it gets longer than that. So now go to the crown of the head and just notice if you feel any sensation there. Relax your scalp and the forehead, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the mouth, the back of the tongue, and the jaw, the back of the head. Relax your neck, release your neck as best you can. Allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the throat and the chest and the belly and all of your limbs. And include your hands and fingers and feet and toes. And just take a nice deep breath. Noticing the sensation of the air as you inhale and exhale. Be aware of any sounds in your environment. And just allowing those sounds to be there. And then try not to follow them with your mind. And then notice the thoughts that are arising. And it's a very unusual time in the United States right now. So, I like to listen to all the opinions on my New York Times app, but it does disturb, it is a little bit disturbing. So just watch the thoughts arise. Notice what's there, what the emotion is, what the feeling is. And just acknowledge it, allow it. And then try not to follow the story. Try not to engage too much. Just taking a step back. And just be objective about what's there. And then just be gentle with yourself. Try not to, give yourself too much of a hard time about what's inside. And then bring to mind all the people of your life. So you start with your loved ones, your very dear ones, people so precious in our life, our friends. These are people we can rely on. And then there's those people you don't like so much, push them away, or you feel suspicious of them, maybe. And then there's strangers. And remembering they can all change place at any time. This friend, this enemy, this stranger. And they're all equal, however we see them, however we view them, they're all equal in their wish to be happy, their wish to be free from suffering and having this extraordinary capacity for Buddhahood. So we think there's no negativity that cannot be purified. So just allow that to settle in your heart. There is no negativity that cannot be purified. And, we create negativity with our mind. So equally, we can change it by creating positivity as well. And we start with the power of regret. And sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And we can think of specific actions of both our body and our speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. We cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we ourselves will experience. And we know from our present suffering we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this. I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. And we have as our first little section, as a subsection in this section, is refuge. So, Lama Yeshe would also talk about not only taking refuge in the outer refuge, like your teachers, your practices, and, in this case, Vajrasattva and his medicine, but we all also want to take, inner refuge. We take refuge in our own inner wisdom, which we all have. So we turn to Vajrasattva, who we see as a doctor, who has the methods that we can use to purify. And it's not that we need Buddha to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine, his method. So imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is your teacher, if you have one, manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. He has a beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is kind of held up in a top knot. This is beautiful lotus-like eyes. And he's smiling at you with complete acceptance, compassion, kindness. No one is left out. His arms are crossed at his heart. The left underneath the right, the left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two. And this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order, this is the second subsection, is developing compassion. And in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings. So we can start with the beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of somebody you may have harmed recently or in the past, or perhaps all beings we may have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then think about those people who may have harmed you and just have compassion for them, because the harm they've caused you is going to result as suffering for them sometime in the future. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and then think, I must purify for their sake. And then we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the medicine, doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And just imagine it just kind of arcs around and enters your crown, and then pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you have ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe and Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe and Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe and Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe and Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe and Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think that there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And next is the purification of our speech. And Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time filling up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine all the gossip, all the harsh speech, and the useless speech and lying and inappropriate speech, talking about others behind their backs and getting other people to agree with you. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipukaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida mebawal, situkaya mebawal, sipokaya mebawa, anarakta mebawa, sawasidi mipiyata sawa kamasita me, sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa, mahasamaya satra aham pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, dida mebawal, situkaya mebawal, sipokaya mebawa, anarakta mebawa, sawasidi mipiyata sawa kamasita me, Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Aham Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified. And imagine it's not possible to do anything but benefit others now with your speech. And next is the purification of our mind. And Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra. And this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So, one analogy Lama Yeshe used to use is that you imagine the light from, when you walk into a room, it's dark, you flick on a switch and the light instantly comes. Well, you think the same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, it just instantly, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, all the attachment and neediness, bitterness, grudges, jealousy, ill will, all your unhappiness and anxiety and fear, all of this instantly dispelled as we recite the mantra again. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipukaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipukaya Mebawa Anorekta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe vajrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita dida me boa situkaya me boa sipokaya me boa anorekta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata ahum pe. Vajrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anorekta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata ahum pe. Vajrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita dida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anorekta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata ahum pe vajrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita dida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorekta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hum pe vajrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita dida me boa situkaya me boa sipokaya me boa anorekta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva hum pe. So be delighted that all your delusions, which is the source of all of our suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. They're finished. And think now there's no space in your heart for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And this time, imagine Vajrasattva very happily sends light and nectar. It fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprint of negative energy from the mind. As we recite the mantra again. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anorekta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorekta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita dida me boa situkaya me boa sipokaya me boa anorekta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita dida me boa situkaya me boa sipokaya me boa anorekta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita dida me boa situkaya me boa sipokaya me boa anorekta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita dida me boa situkaya me boa sipokaya me boa anorekta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Dita Mebawal Sitokaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawal Anurakta Mebawal Sawasidi Mipiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum. So now feel you're completely purified and there's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. Next is the power of resolve. And this is, the fourth and the final step in the purification. And it's a really crucial one because we need to make a decision about things before we do them, which is really simple. So we just decide this is what we want to do. So we make a determination to not harm with our body, speech, and mind. And without this, we're going to keep doing the same old things over and over again. And this aspiration, this determination, becomes like a beacon that guides our body and our speech and our mind in new and different directions, more positive directions. So you can, first of all, start by rejoicing that everyone's turned up here tonight. Fantastic. And then think about something you'd like to work on between now and tomorrow, maybe. And you might have a persistent, consistent negativity or maybe negative self-talk or rumination about something or someone that just doesn't seem to go away. And so, you can work on, first of all, developing an awareness about what's going on in the mind with relation to that thing or that person or that event. And then maybe once you've recognized that you've actually gone down that road yet again, sort of maybe try and stop yourself, go, okay, so this is not helpful. Let's think about something else. Turn on, some music or something to distract yourself. Recite a mantra. The word mantra means mind protection. So you can recite Om Mani Padme Hum. Anything, or even Om Vajrasattva Hum. So imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with us and, wants to merge with your mind. And so melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown and think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind become one. So now we have this little bit on emptiness. So in emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think that the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So here we have chanting the names of Manjushri for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche's unmistaken reincarnation. Atop pain's remedy, the Mahayana, with Vajra Dharma as his mighty weapon, with Vajra depth renowned as Junajik, with Vajra thought, aware of how things are, perfecting all perfections perfectly, adorned by all the grounds of bodhisattvas, the selflessness of pure phenomena, with luster that is moonlight unto knowledge, with great endeavors as illusory nets, the foremost master ruling every tantra, endowed in full with every Vajra posture, completely furnished with all wisdom bodies. So let's make a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, and indeed for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche's unmistaken reincarnation. And then for the long lives of all of our own teachers, our own precious teachers. Okay. Thank you, everyone.